Hello, everyone. We will begin shortly. Welcome. Let's just let the last few people continue to join, and we will get started here momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and mute all as you enter, and then I'll take times for questions or comments as we move forward. Again, we'll get started in about 1 minute as people continue to click on and join. Thank you for your patience. I love it. We have people joining in. We currently have 9 participants. I'm going to give it about 1 minute more before we get started as people are still logging in and joining in. And we'll get started here momentarily. Excited to share some exciting learnings with you all from Coaching Skills Camp last week. All right, and hello everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited to be coming to you tonight to share some really exciting and awesome things that experiences I had last week at Coaching Skills Camp. So I had the honor and privilege of attending Keller Williams Coaching Skills Camp, which is taught by one of my mentors and coaches, Diana Kokoska. This is the third time that I have actually attended this camp, and I will tell you, it is by far the best time. Not because the content was different. However, as we go through things over and over and over again, we learn them and understand them at a higher level. So I'm really excited to spend some time tonight sharing with you guys some of the learnings that I had at Coaching Skills Camp, answering some questions, and talk a little bit about how this will change and grow our coaching program together. So let's jump right in. So Coaching Skills Camp is 2.5 full high impact coaching experience. So it includes things as role play and class time, and it's a hands-on, probably the best Keller Williams training I've ever been at. I will tell you, the very first time I went through this, the whole time I'm like, can you slow down? Because there was just so much information. We use the example of drinking from a fire hose, and you've heard me share this with you before. That's exactly how I felt the first time I went through it. Like someone was just opened a fire hose of information, and I caught like every fifth or 10th concept that was talked about. So I've taken this course now 3 times over the past 19 months. And this opportunity I had this time was because I understood the content that was going to be discussed. I was able to really process and implement and understand it at an entirely different level. So I'll talk about some of those things as we go through. I could probably do 20 of these webinars just on topics that I learned and different sections of Coaching Skills Camp. It's been really cool. So tonight I'm going to move through a few things that really have resonated with me, and some of you I've actually had the opportunity to share these stories and some of these messages with, and it's been fascinating that as I've had the opportunity to learn and be reminded of some of these concepts we'll talk about, how the opportunities in our world have been created for me to share this with all of you. I've had some one-on-one conversations and group conversations where to share some of these experiences. So that's telling this message that we are discussing right now is an important one, and I'm excited to kind of talk more about that. So I'm going to begin tonight by sharing a story with you, and that story is going to be about one of the activities we do on the first evening at Coaching Skills Camp. So it is a high impact day. You start at 7:30 in the morning, and the first day doesn't finish till 10 o'clock at night. It is all day and most of the night long. So in the evening, however, it's a high energy experience where we actually do the activities of board breaking, where you actually push through your hand and break a board. Now, many of you may have seen past videos on the Warriors Facebook page where I actually went through and broke the board and posted some of those videos of the past 2 times that I've went on this experience. Some of you may have had the privilege to do this activity yourself. Here's what's unique about the way that we do it at Coaching Skills Camp. We begin by doing a meditation around our greatest fears. And then we write some of our greatest fears and concerns and limiting beliefs on that board. We talk about why that's important to us. Are we ready to change that story? What's holding us back? And then when we go up and break that board, it's not just a symbol of our power, it's also a symbol of breaking through and releasing those fears out of our life. So, here's was my big learning the first time. So my very first experience, I posted a live video to the Warriors. This was 19 months ago or so. You can go back on the Facebook page and find it, where I shared this experience that the first time I went up to hit the board, it didn't work. It was hard, and I had fear around even hitting it because I didn't believe that I could actually break through the board. And I was like, that can't happen. I'm not going to be able to do that. That's a thick board. There's no way. And so that was my first experience through it. It took me about 3 times, and then I was able to break through that board. And it was an exciting, invigorating experience, and something that I'll never forget. The second time I went to Coaching Skills Camp, I was like, I got this. I understand this. I get it. I was focused. JT had the opportunity of joining Coaching Skills Camp with me that time, so he and I were there together. Our energy was high. It was focused. It was intense, and it was full on. And we both went up and we broke right through the board the first time. It was major, powerful energy. It was exciting. And now, the third time is this story that I'm about to share with you, which is very, very fascinating. So we got up there, we went through everything, and we talked a lot about being 100% full on and committed in your energy and your focus to break through the board. And I'd done this 2 times previously. As this was my third Coaching Skills Camp. I was one of the senior people in the room. So I was focused on how I was showing up to support others who had fear or nerves about this experience. And they were nervous or excited or a little bit of both around breaking through the board and didn't know if they could do it. And I was pumped. I was energetic. I was excited. I was the champion. I was the cheerleader, helping them have the courage and the tenacity to do this and break through their fears and break through those boards. And that was a great gift that I had the opportunity to do. However, and I watched people who were fearful of doing it, breaking through the boards, and celebrated with them. And then I got up and did this activity, and I was pumped and I was excited, and I've done this before and there's no problem. I went up and my hand didn't go through the board. And I'm like, what is going on? So okay, I just had a bad stance, or wasn't it? And I focused again, and it happened again. And then it happened a third time, to the point where the person was like, sorry, you need to go with someone else, and sent me to some other person to break my board with. And I'm like, what is going on? I am jacked with energy. I'm pumped. I've helped all of these other people do it. I have shown up in a massive way. And I'm like, what? I don't get it. I don't understand why I'm not breaking through this board. What's going on? So I went to another one of the MAPS mastery coaches who were holding the boards for us, went through, and I was like, I got it this time. Pushed there, and it didn't break. And then I am like, okay, is my board defective? And I was going to blame everything else around why this board isn't breaking. They must have given me an extra board or an extra thick board, or maybe there's a knot in it that's causing it not to break. What's going on? Couldn't be anything I'm doing. It has to be the board, right? And I did it a third time with the same person, and it didn't break. And then they're like, okay, well, you get to go over to this person. And I'm like, what? And so one of my greatest fears was that I'd be one of those last people standing around in the room, and there's like 5 or 6 people remaining, and you have 200 people surrounding you, and you're like the ones that couldn't break through the boards are finally breaking through. And of course, that ended up being one of me, which, because that was one of my fears, is why that happened. However, that's not the story I'm sharing with you today. The story I'm sharing with you today is I went to the third person. This is after 6 attempts of breaking the board. I'm fully frustrated. I'm like, I'm going to go up here and do it. I have a whole bunch of people watching. I'm going to break right through this board and just get this done and over with. Went up there again. Didn't work. And I'm like, at this point, I just wanted to give up and be like, maybe I just won't break the board tonight. I'll just like quickly sneak out the side and tell everyone I did it and move on. And of course, that's not going to happen, because that would not be the integrity way. And I know that the universe is teaching me something that I get to learn right now. There's a reason why this isn't happening. And what is the lesson I get to learn? So I did it a second time and still didn't break through the board. And the coach pulls me aside, and he looked me in the eye and said, "You're not focusing full on 100%. Stop worrying about everyone else and everything else going on, and put that full on 100% focus and energy, not at the board or at the problem or anything else, instead straight through the board." And so that really was my learning. It was more about, so anyways, I did that, focused on him, channeled my energy, and the board broke before I even touched it, basically, like butter. So it wasn't the board, there was no extra thickness, it wasn't a knot. It all linked back to the way I was choosing to channel my energy and truly focus. So we went through a meditation, and we've talked about this before, being 100% full on focused, 100% committed, and 100% full on focused, right? And that's what we were talking about in this board breaking activity. What I realized in reflection and hindsight of all of these failures, right? And none of us like to fail, especially when it's in front of other people. And now we have a whole bunch of people watching us fail over and over again. That can be embarrassing. And what I learned through all these failures is that I was not choosing to be 100% full on focused. Instead, I was allowing my energy and my focus to be distracted by people around me, about the desire or need to help someone else. I was focused on helping someone else break through their board and have their focus and energy, versus how was I really channeled and focused my energy. And so when you think about that, 100% full-on focused energy is so powerful. It can break through the board. And they've done studies and watched these in slow motion, where you actually break through the board prior to your hand really even touching the board. The board begins to splinter from the energy that you're putting because of your focus prior to the board even touching it, which is very, very fascinating. So all of that said, that was one of my biggest learnings, is how are we showing up every single day 100% full on focused in our energy and our intentions in what we are doing. When you're lead generating or you're on the phone with someone, are you 100% full on focused on that activity with the intention to earn the opportunity to support them and help them? When we're at an open house, are we 100% full on focused with the intention and energy that we're going to change someone's life and it will be a successful open house, and we're going to help find someone who's looking to buy a home or sell a home? That 100% full on focus is really what's going to change and make the difference between success or failure, basically. There's something to learn from every failure. We say every morning in affirmations, I am successful. We all have a fear of failure because we don't want to look bad. We want to be right, and we want to feel important. However, failure actually is a step towards our joy, because when we fail, we're one step closer, because there's always something to learn from. So I'm here to tell you, it does not matter how many times you do an activity, how many times you break that board, or how many times you don't break the board. That has no impact on your success. When you do have 100% full-on focus, the success will show up and the results will show up on the other side. So it really is about how are we focusing, where are we putting our mindset, and how are we putting our energy and our focus forward in a passive or a powerful way directly into every activity that we're doing. And that leads me to my next point. Many of you saw me post on Facebook a quote, and I don't know if it was a quote from Diana, or actually I don't even think it was that. I think it probably is a quote from me based on the concepts. And the quote is more of a question. The question is, are you waiting for your, sorry, let me rephrase that. The question is, now my brain just went blank. Here we go. You ready? There's a reason why I'm struggling answering this question or asking this question. So the question is, do you believe that you're successful? Or are you waiting for your success to make you believe it? Let me say that again. Do you believe that you're successful and in your success? Or are you waiting for your success to make you believe that you can or are successful? Because if you're waiting for your success to make you successful, that's going to be a long wait. It all starts with our mindset and our being, and that then creates that focused 100% full-on energy. So what are we doing every day to change our thoughts, to change our mindset, to become that agent that we're looking to become, that we're working to become? Do you believe that you're $1 million producer? Do you believe that? And if you believe that, what are you doing and how are you showing up every single day in the way $1 million producer would? Does a million dollar producer practice their scripts? I'm sure they do. Do they lead generate? Do they lead follow-up? I know they do. Do you believe that you can do that? And then does that belief inspire you? And are you doing the activities of a $1 million producer? So we know the bold law is be, do, have, right? It's not do, have, be. It's also not have and then be, do, or have, do, be. It is be, do, have. So one of my biggest learnings is we focus a lot on activities and doing. We're doing the activities and doing the activities and doing the activities. And that's good, right? Because activities lead to motion, which lead to results. However, if we're doing the activities of breaking through that board and we're not 100% full on focused with the right mindset, do we get the result that we were looking for on the other side? And of course, the answer is no. If we're doing the activities and we're not focused and we don't have the right mindset, we won't see the success and results on the other side. So how are we becoming? And by becoming that, when we do the activities, we then see the success. And it starts with the being. So instead of just focusing on the do, we end up with a whole bunch of do-do. And we don't want do-do. So instead of having a bunch of crap in our life and a crap in our coaching program and crap in our business, instead, we are going to focusing a lot on who are we becoming. Now, that does not mean that we be someone before we take any actions. That's because the actions are part of the being. However, we get to focus on the being and the mindset as well. So who are we? Not just in our programming and our thoughts. Who are we also in our feelings? Do we feel like we can do this when we say we can? And if not, what are we doing every day to increase and change our feelings? That's going to be done by changing our programming, right? And so I'll ask you this question. Could all of you walk into any listing appointment? If I said right now, and I set the appointment, it's at 6:45. As soon as you finish up here, get in your car and drive to 123 Main Street for a listing appointment. Here's all the materials. I've already presented it for you. And could you have a conversation and walk out with signed paperwork? If all the work was done for you and all you had to do was go in and do the presentation, do the conversation, get to their motivation, and have them sign the paperwork. If any of what I just said gives you any sort of hesitation, What are you being every day? Who are you becoming, and what actions are you doing so you would be that person who could walk in with 15 minutes notice and earn that listing? Because you also know the bold law, spontaneity is a conditioned reflex, right? So spontaneity is a conditioned reflex, meaning once we practice and do and practice and rehearse, and we do it in our mindset, we do it in our activities, then the results show up on the other side. So how many of you are practicing your listing conversation, your buyer conversation every single day so you could walk in 15 minutes from now and earn a listing? And if you're not, are you waiting for your success to prove to you that you can do it? Or do you believe you can do it? And are you taking the actions every day of being the person that can do it? So that's the first thoughts and first concepts that I have. So I'm going to come in and take you guys off of mute. That was a lot of information that I laid on you, and I'd love to hear what some of your comments are. So I am going to take you all off of mute. So those of you that are there, we have a nice group here. Please mute your phones so we don't have a bunch of background noise, and unmute when you want to say something. So who has something to say, or what has been your thoughts or feedback on what we just talked about? Now it's time for you. I'll start calling on you. I have your names in front of me. Someone can say something, I'm sure.
I'll go to the door.
All right. Anyone have any comments on what we just talked about? Well, there's a baby that has some comments on it.
I accept the challenge.
Which challenge do you accept?
15-minute prep time.
I love
Go
that.
get that listing.
Fantastic. I love that. That's wonderful. So you feel confident and comfortable that you can do that now?
I'm going to rehearse my scripts tonight, and the only way to be the best is to practice. So I'm ready to go.
I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that, and understanding that you're going to do that. Anyone else have anything to talk about the state of being, the story I shared? Has anyone done the board breaking activity before?
No.
No.
Fascinating. So it's a pretty cool thing. Did you know that the board begins to break before you even touch it?
No.
Kind of cool.
No, that was awesome that happened.
Yeah, and that's all about the energy that you're putting off and the focused energy that you have as you push through and you move forward through your years. So are we being 100% focused in our activities?
Yes.
Every day? That's good. That was one yes, like the 15 people that are on here. So obviously there's an opportunity, right, to become focused, to follow our schedule at the highest possible way and become more focused. Does anyone else have any comments or any other questions about what we're discussing tonight?
No, I thought that was awesome information though.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Jacob. It was this is Andre, everybody. Jacob and I and Chanel had a great conversation about this, and thank you so much for reiterating all that you shared with us, and very, very excited to go ahead and give it our 100%.
Awesome. I love that. I think that's really, really cool. So I'm going to put everyone back on mute, and I'm going to finish up with just one final comment before we finish up here. And it's something similar that goes along with this. So what that is that questions create energy, and everything in our world is energy. Our thoughts create energy. Our questions create energy. So, and at scientific laws, we know that the energy we put out is what we attract. This isn't woo-woo or, all of that stuff. This is just science that we know. The energy that we're putting out is what we attract back. And the thoughts that we have in our head create that energy. So if you're choosing to be $1 million producer and make $1 million in commissions in the next 5 years, what are you thinking about? Do you believe that you can do that? Because that's the energy that you're putting out. What questions are you asking when you're talking to people? And how are you creating that energy? And more importantly, when you meet a client or when you're on the phone even with someone, that energy that you have is coming through. And if you think or believe differently than you're saying, then you're not authentic. And that inauthentic energy is going to come through, which is going to make people not choose to work with you. So what I mean is, if you believe that calling a for sale by owner or an expired, they're going to be mean and angry and unhappy and make your life miserable and be mean to you, then that's probably what you're going to get on the other side. There are agents that tell me open houses don't work, I'm not going to do them. Door knocking doesn't work, I'm not going to do that. Well, the reason it doesn't work is because the energy in your mind is being created, and that's the energy that you're getting back. So anything that you choose to do, you can choose to be successful at when you choose to have the right mindset and belief in it. So that question that I asked of, do you believe you're successful, or are you waiting for success to make you believe it, can be narrowed down to any specific activity. Do you believe door knocking today will be successful, or are you waiting for a success or a nice person or an appointment to make you believe it? Do you believe that your open house today will create an appointment, or are you waiting for that appointment to be created to believe it? And if you're waiting for the result to show up to make you believe something, then you're going to be waiting a long time. When you choose to show up and you believe it in your heart and you're doing the activities, then the results show up. So we're going to continue to work a lot on our mindset and on our belief and what are we doing every day. So I challenge all of you guys to create a routine in affirmations, create a routine around your mindset and what you're doing every day to make sure that you believe in your success, you believe in the activities that you're doing. And if you don't believe it, let's work through that. Reach out to myself or your launch coach or all of us, and let's have a conversation about what's getting in the way of you getting the result if you're truly doing the action. Oh, I'm going to unmute you again, and in our last minute,
great. We had a great time out there.
Let me know if you have.
No, I'm nice and brown.
All right. Anyone have any last comments?
I just want to say thank you for your time. I really appreciated it. We did. Yeah, we appreciate
I did too.
Jacob.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. I believe in all of you at a high level. You guys know that. And when you're struggling with believing and you're struggling with believing in a concept or in yourself, I challenge you to borrow the belief that I have in each of you. I believe in each of you at a high level. It's going to make me emotional. I know that all of you can be successful. And when you struggle believing in yourself, borrow that belief I have in you until you believe it, because all of you can do it. I'm in it for the long run with all of you guys. I am here. I am grateful and honored to be on this journey with you and to be part of your success and your future. Thank you for who you are. And I look forward to many more amazing webinars and many more amazing deals and celebrations together. Thank you so much, guys. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome.
Jacob.
You're welcome.